Guys, it's been so long since I recorded a video. I literally don't even know how to speak to a camera anymore. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this yappy video. It's been so long since I last filmed anything, literally way over a month, and it's been an interesting month, but that's not why we're here. We're here to talk books, and in the month of June, I read, I think it was 8 books. Let me check my little Notion page and tell you how many books that I read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 books, I think. But I read the entire Legacy of God series by Rinakent. This was my first introduction to Rinakent, and that's what we're going to be talking about while I get ready. It is honestly such an interesting series. I started with God of Malice because I didn't know what it was about. I knew it was like a dark romance type of thing, but I was not aware how dark. Like, there were trigger warnings at the beginning of the book, but I did skip over them because I don't need to be fully aware of trigger warnings. And it did say like it could give spoilers, so I just didn't read all of it. I just knew there were a couple of paragraphs of trigger warnings. And I thought the dark romance would, you'd kind of get some sort of introduction to it before, it goes full throttle. I can't exactly say that was the case with God of Malice. Chapter 1 was quite literally traumatizing to me in the sense that I had no idea what was happening. I was afraid that I was reading it wrong. I had to reread paragraphs and be like, am I like perverting this further than it needs to be? But no, I did a quick search on TikTok and I saw that chapter 1 is quite infamous. So that was very interesting for me. I soon realized that reading her previous series, like the Royal Elite series, would have been helpful just because you understand how these kids were brought up and like their parents' stories. I didn't. I just went into the library and the bookstore, and I saw that in where I live, they've started publishing the Legacy of God series in like all the mainstream bookstores, and you can't find the Royal Elite or any of the other Rinakent books. So I figured that was fine for me to read. So I was severely shook by God of Malice. I read it in one day. Yeah, it was a very quick read, and I don't know if it was because I was so confused. Like, it had me questioning a lot of my morals. I was like, is this really okay? Like, is it okay for me to be reading this? So after I read the first one, I said to myself, okay, I'm not doing this. Like, this is just not for me. So I went to bed that night, woke up the next morning, thought nothing of it, figured, okay, like this was a whatever read. And for some reason, I couldn't get it out of my mind. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about these characters, and like, it had me questioning a lot of things, really. So then I was like, what the hell? I'm just gonna pick up the second one. I think not because I love the story of the first one. I don't really like Killian as a character. I know a lot of people love him, but I just wasn't, Killian wasn't a thing. So then I picked up the second one, which follows Creighton and Annika. That was good. I really enjoyed that. People don't like Creighton, whatever, like I like him. And although the ending of that one was also interesting, I don't know how I feel about kidnapping, right? But it worked. All of these female characters have something seriously going on in their brains that makes them romanticize these things. But I don't know if you've seen that series on TikTok where the person does like the AI therapy for the Legacy of God characters. Loved that, because if you've read the series, you need to watch that TikTok series, because it provides some validation to how you feel as the reader. So read Creighton and Annika, and I was like, okay, like I read that one pretty quick as well. I think it took me like 2 days, and I really did enjoy it. Way more than I enjoyed God of Malice, for sure. I rated it a 4 out of 5. God of Malice was a 2.5 out of 5, so significantly better. And I figured that was it. I was like, I'm not going to do more after that. You can see the kind of stages of grief that I'm going through, and I was stuck in the denial stage. I was like, not for me. Like, 2 is good. Like, I'm gonna go back to my fantasy. I didn't do that. See, I didn't want to read God of Wrath for a very specific reason, that the main character has the same name as my younger brother. You can see the issues with that, right? But everyone kept hyping up this character, especially on TikTok, which is where I go for my book validation. Everyone was hyping him up, and I was like, but his name is Jeremy. I read it, and it was fine, because most of the time they don't even refer to him as his name. Okay, firstly, I think I disassociated. I still can't really fully romanticize this character because of his name, but the storyline was amazing, and I love Cecily. Love, love, love her. She's so relatable, honestly, personality-wise. The cabin scenes were dark as shit, though. With the gun. I haven't read Haunting Adeline, but I know of it, and that gun scene, I was like, don't think I can read Haunting Adeline, because my heart was beating out of my chest. Like, why are you all getting off on this? Like, I'm just very confused. Anyway, I read that one in 1 day, and I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, so we can see that it's, getting better. And then we have God of Ruin. I hated Landon. I don't think he's very likable, and if you read God of Wrath, you kind of understand why you hate Landon. Okay, he played my girl, he played Cecily, and I'm just like, I don't vibe with that. That's just not cool. And he did a lot of really random shit that I'm like, why are we doing this? I had the same issue with when I was reading Anna Huang books, because you know how like the characters kind of all appear in each other's books. I mentioned this in another video, but I'm a traitor, okay? Because I will say like, I do not like this character until it becomes their main book. They're the main character of the book, and suddenly I'm like, oh, I love him. And I really respect authors that can do this well. Rinakent apparently is one of them. And I was very skeptical about having a female character that didn't speak. I was wondering how that was gonna, transpire into a book. Seamlessly, apparently. It was done very well, and I can't believe that they made Landon likable. He genuinely had a soft spot for Mia, and I love that. It's such a good enemies to lovers type situation, and I always love when there is tension going on between the elites and the heathens. Personally, I like the heathens more, but I just love the tension. I love the fighting, and I love that Mia is Nico's brother, because Mia is Nico's sister. Nico's her brother. Love that, because Nico is an unhinged piece of shit and I absolutely love it, and we'll get into it. But by this point, after I finished God of Wrath, I think that was when I was fully converted into this this world, because I was like, there's no way I have to read all of them now. Like, there's absolutely no negotiations happening. I dropped all my other reads and TBRs and I put these right at the top of the list. I made a list of all the Rinakent universe books in order and the characters' names, not because I'm going to read all of them, but because when they mention other people's names, they have to have the most complicated family tree in history. Because like, they will mention a character and be like, yeah, like his mum is this person who is twins with that person, and they're related to that person who's brothers with that person, and he's adopted. What? So then they just like name drop, and I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. So that's why I made the list, to just like look at it and be like, that's that person, and I had to do it. So God of Ruin, read that in like a couple of days. I think something that's interesting is that these books actually they explore different types of mental illnesses, which I can appreciate, because the author does it in a very respectful way, which is good. And she kind of normalizes it, makes it kind of common, which realistically mental illness is common in today's day and age. It's just nobody wants to speak about it, or people are afraid to speak about it. So I liked that. I liked that. So I read that one. I love the ending. I love it. I just also have this newfound understanding to psychotic behavior, because the author, explores sociopathy and psychopathy in a very interesting way. And the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of people who exhibit these signs in our day-to-day lives. We just don't realize it. It's also made me very suspicious of extremely personable people who kind of have this perfect persona going for them in social circles, because I'm like, a little bit too perfect. How can you have no flaws? Psychopath. That's, yeah. Just something that I've picked up from this series. Finished that, I almost like want to stop doing my makeup, because I've been talking more than I've been doing my makeup anyway, before I get into this next one. Okay, I rated God of Ruin, which is Landon and Mia's story, a 4 out of 5. It went down by a 0.5, but let me get into God of Fury. Okay, I have not read a gay love story. I haven't, just because I think they're not very mainstream, right? Which I don't know how I feel about that. Like, we should make them mainstream, essentially. And anyway, I've just never been exposed to it, and I never had the opportunity to read it. I was a little bit skeptical about it, because I think that these stories come, like, I always thought that I needed a female character for me to put myself in the female character's shoes. And God of Fury made me read the book as a reader for the first time in a very long time. I was skeptical. I knew that I liked Nikolai's character just from his other appearances in other books. He's like the only character who can appear in other books and actually me still like them. Anyway, I liked his character, and the idea of somebody like Brandon with somebody like Nikolai really appeals to me. But yeah, I wasn't expecting a lot from this, story, because I was like, I have no relatability to it. Wrong, I do have relatability to it, because Brandon's personality, it's like mine to some extent. I think she explores the mental illness side of it amazingly, very well. But overall, this was just like the best book in the entire series. Like, I actually get giddy thinking about it. Like, it is a lot softer than the other ones. But I just, I love them. I love the both of them together. I just have never rooted for two characters like this. Nikolai is an absolute teddy bear. I can't even explain to you. I just don't understand how. Like, there is a scene that just stuck with me. It's when Brandon finds him in the bathtub, face down in the water, meditating. That just, I don't know why, but that just makes me laugh. And something about Nikolai waking up every morning to follow him on his runs just makes me laugh too. His dedication to Brandon, crazy. Okay, and the way that Nikolai's character is just so intrinsic. Like, he's always up here, okay, and the way he's talking to himself and talking to other parts of him, it was all just so funny, well put together. Read it in half a day. I read it in like 2 sittings. It was very interesting. I just loved it so much. It was a 5 out of 5. I loved it. It was so good. Okay, every time, so I read these all on my Kindle, but every time I go to a bookstore, I have to look for God of Fury and just like look at the physical copy. I also didn't realize how thick these books are. Because I've been reading them on the Kindle, I've been getting through them very quickly. And then I went to a bookstore and I saw the size of these books. They're pretty thick. Why did I think they were like 200, 300 pages? They're a lot thicker. Not complaining. Very much enjoyed it. Then we get to God of War. I can continue my makeup for this one because I didn't enjoy it. I was very confused. Okay, because Eli and Ava pop up a lot in the other books. They are very much reoccurring. They pop up. I was really looking forward to more backstory. Okay, I didn't really like the fact that the book was set like years in the future. It felt very epilogue vibes. Like, it just gave me like the end, which I wasn't a fan of. I don't know. And yeah, I didn't vibe with the book. I read it in a couple of days, but I rated it a 2 out of 5, which is the lowest that I've rated any book in this series. Yeah, just wasn't a vibe for me. I think Eli's personality just lacked something. Like, it just lacked something for me. So I wish that there was a bit more. I wish we got a bit more from them. Yeah, I don't know. Something about the whole book just gave me vibes that I was not interested in. Yeah. I think I was just as confused as Ava throughout half the book. So maybe that was the point, but it completely flew past me and I just didn't get it. So that one was a 2 out of 5. Yeah, that's my rant on the Legacy of God series. I didn't even finish my makeup, so I need to go do that. But I thought that would be the end of my rinakent reading. I have decided to pick up Kiss the Villain just because I'm really interested in Gareth and Kanan. And I've started it. So far, it's very good. Very, very good. I also like that it's set back in that God of Malice timeline. and that initiation where nobody was actually partaking in it. I loved it, and so I'm going to be continuing to read Kiss the Villain, but I'm going to make a separate video about that. Thank you for watching and listening to my rant on the Legacy of God series. If you're thinking of reading it, please read the trigger warnings and read at your own risk. I will say this was my first introduction to dark romance, and it was good. It was good. Also, God of Malice, don't be put off by the first chapter. Skip the first chapter if you must, I don't know, but it was good, and I'm happy that I started it. And yeah, it's all been very interesting, very new for me. I will see you in my next video. I hope you're having a great day and you're reading a great book. Bye.